It was supposed to be a day of celebration, a warm restaurant dinner, laughter, family, a small gesture from a husband to honor the woman he'd married, a Mother's Day surprise for the woman who had stepped into his life after tragedy and helped raise his son. But what he overheard behind that front door changed everything. I got off work early. The plan was simple. Final touches for the evening, then surprise her with what I hoped would be a meaningful night. The kind of thing that said, "I see you. I appreciate you. You're part of this family." I walked in quietly, key in hand, but as I stepped into the entryway, I heard voices coming from the living room. My son, my wife, my stepdaughter. I paused, and then I listened. What I heard made my blood run cold. My wife, the woman I had chosen after losing my first love, was asking my son to stay home. Not inviting, not suggesting, asking him to lie to me. "Convince your dad to let you stay home," she said. "Why?" my son asked. His voice, it was small, curious, hopeful. She replied, "Your introverted and socially inept attitude will make my family uncomfortable. It'll ruin the mood." He didn't lash out. He didn't argue. Instead, he offered the one thing that should have broken her heart. He promised her he would behave, promised he'd try his best, that he'd smile, engage, be better. And she cut him off, shut him down, told him she didn't believe him. And then came the dagger. "Technically, I'm not even your mom, so I don't know why you want to celebrate Mother's Day with me so badly." Silence. And then a backhanded comment from her daughter. I didn't catch the exact words, but I caught the tone. Mean, smug, dismissive. That was when I stepped into the room. Everything stopped. Their faces froze. No one said a word. I told my son and stepdaughter to go to their rooms, and then I looked at my wife, the woman I had trusted. I told her the celebration was off. She blinked, confused, then angry. "Why?" she demanded. I told her why. She tried to explain it away, claimed I didn't hear the full conversation, that I misunderstood, that she didn't mean it like that. But I'd heard enough. I told her we were done arguing, that the decision was final. She didn't go quiet. She escalated, started yelling about how I was ruining everything, that I'd embarrassed her, that she had no idea what to tell her family. But I didn't care. I walked away. That night, she packed her things, took her daughter, went to her parents' house. She hasn't called, hasn't texted, not a word. And here I am, sitting in the silence, still hurting, still turning it all over in my head. Because it wasn't just a canceled dinner. It wasn't just a cruel comment. It was the moment I realized who she really was. Or maybe who she had been all along, behind closed doors I never opened. Let me tell you a little more. My son is 13. He's quiet, thoughtful. He's not the kid who runs into a room and takes it over. He's the one who watches, listens, takes it all in. He's been like that since his mother, my first wife, passed away. Her death shattered our world. For a long time, it was just me and him finding our way through the grief. Then I met my current wife. She was bright, confident. She had a daughter of her own, older than my son. We blended our families. It wasn't perfect, but I thought we were making it work. My wife and stepdaughter, they're the opposite of my son. Outgoing, loud, social. And they've always had opinions about how my son should be. They pushed him, encouraged him, sometimes pressured him, and he tried. He really did. But after a while, he started telling me he felt smothered, that his needs weren't being respected, that he just wanted to be himself. quiet, reserved, and comfortable in his own skin. So I talked to them, told them to give him space, told them he needed room to breathe. They said they understood. They said they'd back off. But now I'm wondering, was that all just for show? Because when I heard that conversation, it wasn't two people supporting a shy boy. It was two people bullying a child. My child. A 13-year-old boy who just wanted to go out to dinner with his family on Mother's Day, and who, despite all the hurt he's carried, was still trying to love her, still trying to be good enough. What does it say about a person who takes that kind of love and throws it back in a kid's face? What kind of mother, biological or not, tells a boy without a mom that she's not his mom as a reason to exclude him? I keep going back to that sentence, that venom. It wasn't a slip, it was a scalpel, and it cut deep. The truth is, my son hasn't said much since it happened. When I tried to talk, he asked for space, said he wasn't ready, and I told him that was okay. I told him I'd be here whenever he was, but I see it in his eyes, the hurt, the humiliation, the weight of rejection. And I'm starting to ask myself some painful questions. How many other times has this happened? What else has she said to him when I wasn't around? How long has he been living with this undercurrent of not being wanted, not being enough? And how many times did I miss it? I keep thinking about how he keeps to himself, how he retreats, how even when he talks to me, there's always a slight hesitation, like he's trying not to rock the boat. Now I wonder if he's just been trying to survive, trying not to get in the way, trying to stay out of sight so he doesn't get hurt. And if that's true, then the celebration I canceled wasn't just about her words that day. It was about everything that came before, everything I didn't see, everything I should have seen. Now she's gone, staying with her family. And I don't know what happens next. But I know this. That night, I chose my son. I canceled the dinner. I canceled the performance. I canceled the idea that we were a family. If that family required my son to be less of himself just to be included. And now, I'm standing at the edge of something. Maybe the end of this marriage. Maybe the beginning of something better. But mostly, I'm just trying to find my way through the fallout, one step at a time. So, am I the asshole for canceling Mother's Day? For protecting my son? For choosing truth over appearances? You tell me. When a child tells you they feel unseen, believe them. When a quiet kid finally speaks up and says, "This is too much," listen. Because sometimes, the silence of a child isn't peace. It's survival. What this father did wasn't dramatic. It wasn't performative. It was protective. It was parental. And in a world where step families are complex, and grief runs deep, and teenagers are still trying to make sense of who they are, the greatest gift you can give a child is to choose them, not just in big moments, but in quiet ones, when no one's watching. This isn't just about one canceled dinner. This is about whether we're willing to see each other, especially the most vulnerable among us. And if this story moved you, tell me this. Have you ever felt unseen by someone who was supposed to love you? And if so, how did you find your way back to yourself? Let me know in the comments. This has been another story from AITA Story Vault. Thanks for listening.